So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You are about to join the revolution.
The time has come. Your world will never be the same. You are listening to a sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to episode number 45 of Podcast Revolution. I'm your host, John, Johnny T, JT, Turkey, and so on and so forth. Joining me over from Germany is Tab.
Hey.
How you doing, Tab?
All right.
So, why are you on the podcast?
Because it's a good distraction from going to work on a Sunday.
Why would you go to work on a Sunday?
Well, because there's things that I have to do that take all night to do. And so rather than come in on Monday, get nothing done, and then, do that, I just get it done over Sunday night so I can start on Monday. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, are Sundays in Germany as big of a deal as they are here?
What do you mean?
Like, for instance, the mall closes early, a lot of stores aren't open, and so on and so forth. Everyone goes to church. Well, not everyone, but some people do. And they're especially old drivers, and they're really slow. You get stuck behind them. Does that happen in Germany?
Oh, yeah. And I thought you were talking about Germany for a second there. No. In Germany, like, with the exception of a few, like, restaurants, everything's closed.
Really?
I think I mentioned this before, but everything is closed. Yeah. And it's a pain. Because, like, right now, I have enough food in my the small amount of food I have is definitely enough. I could probably go for, like, 2 weeks before I really was, like, starving. But my selection of food is really poor. So, like, right now, for the next probably 3 meals, I'm going to be having the same thing. Well, for the rest, I'm probably going to have the same thing for dinner that I had for lunch, which is kind of depressing.
Do the stores over there accommodate for glutards like you?
Not as well as they should.
Maybe you should write a letter to your local, I don't know, mayor or whatever.
A letter to the governor?
A letter to the... Yeah, give us a German letter to the governor right now.
I don't know who the governor is.
Well, just write Dear Governor, or Dear... whatever their higher office is.
No, maybe some other time.
Alright. Fine. Be a stick in the mud.
Okay.
You're soft! Actually, I'm gonna play a sound for you, and I want you to identify it for me. That's not the sound. I don't know. What is that? Is that some kid running down the hallway?
That is a baby crying.
Can you go hit it for me and make it shut up?
I think that would be the worst possible thing I could do.
Does it know that we're doing a podcast right now?
I told the parents, but they seem to be distracted.
Well, then hit the parents.
You are tearing me apart!
Alright, so, can you identify this right here?
Yeah, that's the Wilhelm cry, right? Or whatever it's called?
The Wilhelm scream, yes.
Yes.
And do you know why it's significant?
Yeah, because it's like in every fucking movie that's come out in the past like 60 years. It's obnoxious. One of these things where like, at this point they put it in because they're like, oh, this isn't also in any movies we're going to put in our movie. It's like, dude, everybody recognizes it now. You're just being a douchebag. That'd be like putting in like Christopher Walken saying needs more cowbell into every movie. Like, everyone would notice it and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's also in the video game Red Dead Redemption.
It's in fucking everything.
And now it's in this podcast.
Shut up, cunt.
I agree with John Lithgow.
Okay, you have that luxury. So, pretty much, on this show, we like to get emails, and we got 2 emails this week. One from Ramon, and one from our friend Minna. I'll read the one from Minna. It says, Dear John, here you go, your goddamn fucking email. And that's it.
Oh, that's nice. That is.
Yes.
John, if you ever use a laugh track again on this podcast, I will cut you and you will slowly bleed out from your femoral artery.
Oh,
These guys hurt.
yes. But why would you do that to me?
Because the laugh tracks are about as obnoxious. No, they are far more obnoxious than the Wilhelm scream.
No, it's not true. Don't even ask.
No, I am going to ask, why the fuck are there still laugh tracks in fucking shows? You know what? Putting laugh tracks in 2.5 Men isn't going to make Charlie Sheen funny.
Oh.
Well,
Oh.
actually, speaking of which, how much cocaine did Charlie Sheen take yesterday?
I don't know.
Enough to kill 2.5 Men.
Oh. Oh, man. Oh, I am getting a phone call.
Bacteria
I'll
Mike?
be right back. All right, I do apologize for that. Why? Continue on your rant about why you hate crowd applause.
It just, like, how stupid do they think the American public is? Well, admittedly, they are pretty stupid. But, like, putting a laugh track, it's not like if they put in a laugh track, it's like, oh, it's not like they're shaping my humor so I'll, like, find everything they do funny. No, all it does is go, oh, they made a joke that is in no way significant enough to generate audible laughter. Which just, it's not even like back in the days of being filmed in front of a live audience where you actually did have some laughter. Even that was probably fake. They had to have like the laughter signs go off or something. But it's something like, there's no audience. Who the fuck's laughing? No one, you assholes.
Tab, I think,
Maybe we should calm it down a little bit and pretend to be straight.
But yes, I agree with you. That laugh tracks, I mean, I think it's the most absurd laugh track is on the Flintstones. And
Yes.
it's very obvious that wasn't filmed in front of a live studio audience.
It would be impressive if it was.
That would be a great strain on the animator's wrist, though.
Perhaps.
Oh my. But, so, yeah, Minna sent us that email. We didn't really respond to it, but it says, here's your goddamn fucking email. So, Minna, we appreciate you emailing the show.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've heard from you.
Yeah,
But-
wasn't she on the show once?
She's, no, I don't believe so.
Who was on the show? Wasn't there a chick who was on the show?
Sammy?
Yeah, it was Sammy.
Yeah. But, yeah, Minna, you, can provide a little bit more substance, but we do appreciate the effort. So,
It's better than nothing.
that's true. And, so Tab, what have you seen in the news lately? Anything interesting?
Well, there's the whole I think there's been 2 different earthquakes, and there's the Sendai tsunami in Japan.
Yes, that, caused quite a bit of damage. About 10,000
and
are dead.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a big deal, admittedly, but natural disasters happen like every 2 weeks, and I feel that, especially with this, when they've got like 300 videos of tidal waves destroying Japan, it's just sensationalist news, and it's just completely unacceptable. But it's and combine that with the 24-hour news cycle, and it just makes any type of news just a pain in the ass to watch.
I agree.
And I'm not trying to impact this environmental disaster is having on the nation of Japan. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the news needs to go, this is a terrible thing. They need all the help they can get. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Well, I gotta say, I'm not happy that this happened, but I'm happy that it got Charlie Sheen out of the news for a few days.
That's actually good point. I'd rather hear about natural disasters than celebrities, but I'd also rather hear about nothing than natural disasters.
Yes. But speaking of a disaster that could be affecting the United States soon, is the National Football League has decided to, lock out its players for now, and the players are suing the league. So that's pretty high potential that there will be no football next year.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about that, it really hit me hard in the chest. I'm a huge Pats fan, and if I have to go more than a couple months without my football, I'm gonna go nuts.
Pat, I gotta call you Pat. Tab, you are a very good actor. Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I don't give a shit about football. I actually don't give a shit about really any sports league. For multiple reasons. Let's just focus today on the ridiculous salaries that they get for doing something that children could do on a street. I mean, and like football, it's like I don't even know where to begin, John. I don't even know where to begin.
I'll begin in the beginning. Begin at the end. Start at the end.
I don't even know where to end. There's no beginning. There's no end. It's just this infinity of.
So why do you hate football? Is it because you're not good at it?
Well, before we get into this, admittedly, although you'll disagree from previous statements, I'm not really good at any sports. And as I think my first episode on, I'm apparently pretty decent at goalie tending. Goaltending, floor hockey goalie,
only floor hockey.
Yes, not never ice hockey, never again. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of any sports. Let's put it that way. I'll say that I'm unathletic, but we can all agree I'm not a big fan of sports. I'm not a big fan of aggressive, assertive stuff.
But, I mean, there's a lot of like fat tubs of lard and stuff who love sports and like fantasize about their players and have like naked men on their walls.
Well, that's because they have some serious issues with their brains and dicks.
That's fair. All right, so continue. How do you think this labor deal will affect the United States public?
I hope that 10 years from now, the children who were born today won't know what football is. That's all I can pray for.
I don't think that's possible, though. I don't think that'll happen, unfortunately.
Well, you combine these negotiation issues and lawsuits with a well-planned eugenics program, and talk to me again about this.
Okay. Are you planning the eugenics program?
No.
All right, then. So, but continue. Why don't you like football?
Well, I don't really... But, like, what is there to say about football? It's a bunch of dudes wearing a bunch of, like, padded equipment that doesn't really seem to protect them from constant injuries that they then, of course, still get paid to do their quote-unquote jobs of, you know, holding each other's balls and tossing around a ball in order to, like, run it to the end zone, you know, 50 yards, Pats, Green Day, whatever. I feel like especially in America, just especially football, it's so like glorified. Like if you think about like the movie that everyone in our age group has seen 5 million times because they just keep shoving down our throat. Remember the Titans? Like that movie was all about football, and I just watch it and I'm like, it's got a nice story. Like, you know, it's all about, you know, desegregation and that sort of thing. But who gives a shit about football? Like, who gives... Like, when the Super Bowl rolls around, I just can't wait for it to be over. So that way everybody can shut the fuck up about the Super Bowl.
Sure, plenty of our fans don't share your sentiments, but some might. Some might.
Those people can suck my dick.
So anybody who disagrees with you on any topic should suck your dick and then they'd understand?
Well, I mean, only if they are... Well, no, I don't really want my dick sucked. That would be less than pleasant.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bring this up. I don't fully understand the appeal of having a chick's mouth on your dick. Because here's the thing, like, just follow my reasoning here. A chick.
No, it's not true. Don't even ask.
A chick gives you a blowjob. So now, like, all sorts of residues are now in her mouth. Right?
Yes.
And then she wants to make out with you some more. I'm sorry. I don't want any cock juice in my mouth, okay? I'm gonna just put it like that. John, do you agree with me?
Oh man! My dad turns me on!
That's unrelated to this topic, John, but if that's how you feel.
But it's funny. I can see your argument, but yeah, that's interesting. But you know what's funny? It's slightly off topic. Is that last week when I played all the sound effects when Kyle was on the show? I think he thought you were saying that.
Yeah, I remember when I listened to that. It sounded like every time that you played like a sound clip from like the Doug Dubs or something, he always just assumed I was just saying it. Although even though I didn't do any, it wasn't even like it was me doing those dubs and so you're playing back me. No, it was just Eric, I think.
Some of those are Eric, yes.
Yeah. Well, Kyle went to MIT, so you know how that is.
Yeah, he probably went there to like watch a hockey game or something,
or to drill some holes in the wall of the women's bathroom and do things.
Yay!
Yes. All right, looks like it's time for a commercial break. So we'll be back right after this. Hey, Lorenzo, you there?
Yeah. Hey, it's my favorite customer, Cages. What can I do for you?
Do you got the stuff?
Of course I got the stuff. You got the money?
Yeah, I got my parents' money right here.
Your parents' money? You don't buy your horse tranquilizers with your own money?
Well, I don't have a job. Well, it's my money, but I save it up.
You just said it's your parents' money.
Well, they give it to me and I save it. I mean, I went to college with $100 that I saved over several years, so I was good for a while.
Well, why don't you use your money?
Well, it is my money.
Well, I mean, like money you didn't get from your parents.
Well,
like from a job. Don't you have money from your job?
How about you just give me my animal tranquilizers and we'll be set?
No, answer the question. Do you have a job?
No, I don't. I'm all right.
You're like 23 years old. How do you not have a job? You've never had a job before?
Well, I've helped my parents with stuff around the house.
An allowance is not a job. God. Hey, you want to go get a movie or something?
Well, I don't have enough money to go to a movie. I just watch Netflix.
No, Netflix? What is Netflix? I mean,
it's great.
I'm on methamphetamine all the time, so
you can stream stuff to your house and just watch it on your TV. There's thousands of movie choices.
You mean you have your own house, but you don't have a job?
Well, it's my parents' house, but I've lived there my whole life.
So you still live with your parents?
Well, yeah.
And you don't have a job?
I don't need one. Not yet.
And you're fat fucking faggot.
Hey.
Like, have I summed it all up right there?
Just give me the animal tranquilizers and leave me alone so I can watch Netflix.
Fine.
Netflix! Alright, so yes, that was an accurate commercial depicting Cages. Well, not that he buys animal tranquilizers, but everything else sounds like something he'd say.
Right? It sounded just like him.
Kind of. And it's funny, when we were at the casino last week, Cages, he was just bad luck everywhere he went. When he was he was never in the positive the whole day, and then whenever anybody hung out with him, they lost money, including me. So Cages was just bad luck. And at the end of the day, like when he was down all his money, I said, Cages, at least it wasn't your money; it was your parents' money. He's like, well, no, it was my money. I was like, well, your parents gave it to you. He's like, well, it was my money. I was like, no, it wasn't.
Oh, Cages.
He's a character.
Wait, I'm thinking about this. He's a junior now?
He's junior, but technically a second-year sophomore.
Oh, yeah, okay. At least he's not graduating soon, because I just can't see him surviving in the real world.
At least he knows his phone number now. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, but it took him, 2 years. I mean, if it takes you 2 years to learn your phone number, how long is it going to take you to learn how to, wipe your butt in your own apartment? I don't know.
Oh, man.
I can just see him getting pink eye and just never figuring it out.
His own apartment. He's going to be living with his parents for a long time.
I mentioned this to you a while ago off of the show, but there's a game called, I think it's Clarence's Big Day. But if you just go to the website Congregate, which is a gaming site, and look it up. But essentially it stars this 35-year-old loser who lives with his parents, and he's on a date with some chick who he lied to about himself. And the whole game makes you think of Cages.
Oh, poor Cages. We kid you, Cages.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh boy. But do you have the Ramon email queued up?
Let me see. You sent it to me, right?
Yep. And Ramon just he seems to get himself in and out of jams, but he's a loyal listener of the show. So
This is the hour of need one, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the email from Ramon. My dear friends, Henrietta left me for her brother because I'm not enough dick for her and don't take enough dick for her, and now her and her brother are going to be at a wedding that I will also be attending. I was thinking that to get her jealous, I'd take my sister Claudia and get all funky with her on the dance floor at the reception. But she died last week from a yeast infection and dry bones.
Oh.
So I figured I'd settle for the second best and take Stan, my mom. I went to the marital aid store and bought her some tasteful and tasty edible underwear, and I told her to flash them around whenever she could, so everyone would be focused more on me and my mom rather than Henrietta and her dumb brother and his big dick. Damn, sometimes I have flashbacks about that dick, railing me as I slept. What else do you think I can do with my mom besides getting funky with my funk muscle all over her at the reception in front of Henrietta? I always appreciate your help. You guys are my favorite show. I hope sometime I can guest host the show with you. I'll bring fruit roll-ups. Ramon.
Hopefully those fruit roll-ups aren't what the edible underwear used to be. But actually, you know what, Tab? I think this time, instead of criticizing Ramon or commenting on his life choices, we should give him advice.
Okay, before we start, I really gotta give him my condolences. Apparently his sister died from a yeast infection and dry bones. I'm not really sure what either of those things are. But
Maybe she took Panicor. Or
possibly.
Panicure, or whatever it was.
I don't remember.
But yes, poor. We do apologize, Ramon, but life goes on, and we need to assist you. So
Yes, that's what we're here for.
So you're trying to make your Henrietta, your ex-girlfriend, mad, jealous by getting it on the dance floor with your mother.
Stan,
yes. So, Tab, what do you think he should do? Do you think they should do the worm together?
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that before. But yeah, if they did a synchronized stacked worm, or like a 69 worm, I don't know, something to really get the heat up in the dance floor.
No, maybe they should plan some big synchronized dance that ends with a synchronized worm. And they could include.
I think just the synchronized worm is good enough. I think that'll do it.
No, you got to get real worms involved too.
Oh yeah, like they need to get like a third person to, like, dump a bucket of worms on them while they're doing their stacked worm. Oh man, John, you gotta promise me the next time you and your wife go to a dance club, you gotta do that. You gotta do the synchronized stacked worm.
Well, I'm not trying to make anybody jealous, so I'll just stay cool.
Then just find some other woman to get your wife jealous.
Well, we'll see how it works for Ramon, and then he can report back to us and let us know.
Yeah, so I think that's our advice for the day, Ramon, is to do a stacked worm, the move I just invented.
Did he say when the wedding was going to be?
No, but if we maybe shot him an email or just asked him right now, Ramon, let us know when the wedding's going to be. Why? Why do you want to know, John? Are you going to go?
No, I don't even know where he lives.
Well, maybe he'll let us know. I mean, he says he wants to guest host, so maybe he lives nearby.
Well, he also is aware of Skype. You don't live nearby.
Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
I know it's a good point.
But why did you want to know
Shut
when
up,
the wedding
cunt.
was?
Shut up, cunt.
Why did you want to know when the wedding was?
Just so we can hear back from him. I want to know when we'll hear back from him.
Okay.
So, we'll find out. Anyways.
Yeah, do you want to do a second section where we respond to it like we normally do?
If you have something in mind, I won't stop.
Just Ramon. I was just kidding when I said that. Just skip like 5 minutes ahead. We're actually going to talk about purebred dogs for a couple minutes, so it's probably not going to be something you're interested in. So just skip ahead. Yeah. His mom's name is Stan. What the fuck is that? Like, That just raises so many issues. Like, in my head, there's some sort of weird, like, Mrs. Doubtfire situation, except there never was a mother, and Robin Williams is just pretending to be their mother, but never being the father, but he's just kind of stopped caring, so he's just letting them call him Stan, and there's probably some molestation going on, just a history of abuse.
Well, we could give Stan the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's like when a girl's name is Pat, short for Patricia, and Stan could be short for...
Stan Rietta? I mean, what the hell would it stand for?
I don't know. But I don't know. What? Peggy is short for Margaret, so that doesn't make any sense. Stan could be short for some other name. Did you know that? That Peggy is short for Margaret?
Yeah, just look that up. You're right.
Yes.
That's weird. That is very weird.
See, you learned something. That's what we're here for. Not only are we entertaining people, we're educating them. That's what this podcast is all about.
They're not even explaining how that happened. They're just like, Peg, Margaret, same thing.
Yep.
Like here's a list of, this is the Wikipedia page, of course, from Margaret, listing all the different diminutive forms. Maggie, Madge, Marge, Meg, Megan, Mog, Moggy, Rita. Rita? Oh, actually, that makes sense. There's the red at the end. Daisy, Greta, Gretel, Gretchen, Maggie, Margaret, May, Molly,
Margot?
Maggie.
You meant Margot instead of Margit, right?
I'm sure I did.
Margit.
I think if Eric ever has any daughters, he should name one Margaret.
Oh boy.
Actually though, if you look at Margaret and you change it to Meggie or Meg, that rhymes with Peggy and Peg. And admittedly, that's not a really good, like, that doesn't make it much sense. But it makes a lot more sense than just going from Margaret to Peg.
Actually, it's funny. Right now I'm thinking of ridiculous baby names. And I just pulled up a site that has a list of ridiculous names for babies. So, give me a name and I'll see if it's on this list. Actually, no, it wouldn't be on this list. This list is terrible. All right. Would you consider ever naming your son Infinite?
Like Infinity?
Yes.
No, that's retarded.
Or Lisa? Yes, that's it. It's a boy's name.
Oh, as a boy's name?
Yes.
And it's spelled the normal way?
Yes. Yeah,
that's weird.
Or would you name your son Apple?
I've definitely heard of that before.
Or Abyss?
Oh, such a terrible... Oh, how about Farrellin? oh man, that was such a low blow. Oh man.
It's okay. I don't think Verlin listens to this show.
Oh dear.
Right, no, girls' names. He, like H-E. Or Galaxy.
Galaxy. Oh my.
Or Symphony.
Yeah, that one actually, like, that one's weird, but not terrible.
Or Tequila.
Oh my. So that'd be like calling your daughter Margaritaville.
Or Nada.
Dude, these are all terrible.
Prince. Alright, so... Alright, here's a name that's not as ridiculous, but one of my friends, he's been on the show, Ketchup Hines, was telling me that he suggested to his girlfriend that if they ever have a kid, a young man, they'd want to name him Tobias, and she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So... What do you think of the name Tobias?
Now, I imagine that your kind of mental issue is that you think of Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. Am I right?
That is what comes to my head right away.
But Tobias is a pretty regular name. It's a little bit kind of, not commonplace anymore. But
yeah, I don't know any Tobiases.
Yeah, but I mean, Tobias isn't much more weird as Thomas.
True.
Or Peggy. Though here's something that was really interesting that I was thinking about. Do you know anyone, and I mean anyone, named Henry?
I know one kid named Henry, yes.
Impressive. I don't know I don't know anyone. People my age who are older than me. I don't know anyone named Henry. which is odd because you'd think that Henry is like a classic American name,
Yes.
but you don't know anyone named Henry. There's plenty of Johns and Michaels. I mean, Michael like 10 years ago was like the name, but Henry's, no one gets named Henry anymore.
So you want to name your kid Henry?
No.
Okay. Then don't name your kid Henry.
I won't.
What would you name your kid?
I don't know.
Someone
I
held a
kinda
gun to you right now and said, "Name my son." What would you say?
Wait, name someone else's son? Because that's a completely different story.
Well, name my son as if he was your own. Well,
No, you're making it too complicated. You just stick with the basic question of what would you name your son if you had one right now?
fine.
Not if someone else forced you to name their son as if they were your son. Like, that's retarded, John.
All right, fine. Just if you had to name a kid right now, what would you think?
I kind of like the idea of just naming him after me, but throwing on the second at the end. Junior is just bullshit. Never. If you're gonna name your kid after yourself, don't be like John Turcotte Jr. That sounds retarded. Call him John Turcotte the second with the expectation that like maybe he'll have a kid and we'll name it John Turcotte the third, and it'll just go on and on. Or even better yet, you do it like old style British kings, and like you name him, John Turcotte the second, and then he as a kid names it whatever he wants. But like down the line, somebody else gets named John Turcotte, so then they're the third.
That's possible.
Or I mean, I have some other ideas too.
Well, let's hear them.
I kind of like the idea of giving him just like a slightly ridiculous name, like Glorfindel, who's an elf from Lord of the Rings, but that's just a bad idea because you don't want to name your kid after anyone from Lord of the Rings just because it's Lord of the Rings. Like, go ahead with any other like obscure fantasy thing, but just Lord of the Rings is a bad idea.
I think any name of that would get your kid beat up and probably you beat up too.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't bring him to school and be like, "This is Glorfindel," because that'd be retarded. You'd shorten it to something like glory or like an actual word, or I don't know. Or like you just call him like, I don't know, Elliot, because there's the L at the end. Although Elliot, I just got a negative association right there.
Oh, Elliot.
Oh, Elliot. That'd be great. Wouldn't it be amazing if you just called one of your kids Elliot Cooper Turcotte?
No.
Or better yet, just Elliot Cooper. Like you just made it so his last name was Cooper.
All right, Tab. I actually just remembered that we got a complaint about you from Captain J. Ross.
Really?
We did. And he's very upset with you for one reason. And it's not what you think, actually.
Interesting. Go on.
It's actually not that bad, so you can get angry with him. Apparently, you say a lot, and that really grinds his gears.
That's actually been true since like the 6th grade. If I'm having a conversation, tends to make its way into the conversation a lot, unless I'm focusing on it. So if I give like a presentation in classes, no ums come in at all. But if I'm just like chatting quickly and I don't think about it, because if you notice right now, I'm not using it at all because I'm thinking about it. In fact, J. Russ mentioning it is great because now, probably for the rest of the episode, it won't happen.
So would you like to apologize to J. Russ or thank him?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Or criticize him?
It's an issue that kind of comes up every once in a while. People kind of mention it. I used to also use like a lot in sentences. Nowadays, I usually use it more in that sort of way I used it before, which is bad. It's almost as bad as but it's a little bit more functional.
Right, I use like a little more than I would like to.
Yeah.
But okay. So that's
some positive criticism. Thanks, J. Russ.
Oh my! I'll make sure he hears this.
And also, you said it's not what you think. What were you referring to with that?
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe like your dialogue with Kyle last week.
Yeah, but that was all Kyle.
Mostly. But you participated.
I was defending myself from Kyle's vicious, quote unquote, MIT-based onslaught.
Oh dear.
You're making my dick wet!
Shut up, Tab.
And it looks like Kyle is going to be in my town for the next week, so he'll probably be stopping by to do some live episodes of the show. So, it's likely you won't be on, but if you want to send in emails, you are welcome to.
I'll see.
And anybody, for that matter, is welcome to send in emails to the show. Tab, what is the email address?
The email is podcastrevolution@gmail.com, correct?
That's correct. It's very easy. And I don't need to tell anybody how to spell revolution because it's an easy word, and two, it's right in the title of the show.
Or what other words have G's in them?
Yes. Gmail, as in goat.
Goat mail. It's my favorite mail server.
Gmail as in go fuck yourself. Because you don't send an email, you flamers.
G as in go eat a bag of dicks.
Yes. But then don't kiss anybody because there'll be residue all over your mouth.
I'm sorry, you can't poke fun at me about that. That's a legitimate issue.
Well, that's true, but that's... I mean, some people might see that as, well, it's my own residue in there, so I'd do that to myself if I could.
Yeah, I guess that's a valid point. Wait, what?
I didn't say I was one of those people. I said someone might say that.
Okay, I'm gonna let that one go. I'm just gonna let that one go.
I'm not Marilyn Manson. Don't.
Or Cages.
Or Cages. Actually, he looks so unathletic, but he always surprises you with something. So I wouldn't be surprised if he could do that. I think we have.
At least with that issue, you wouldn't have the same problem that you had with Jumbo Joe with misunderstanding him when you knock on the door. Because with Cages, you just hear these mumbling noises, and to just leave him well enough alone.
Ketchup Hines actually walked in on him one time. Not doing that, but pretty similar. What?
Wait, who, Cages?
Yes.
Oh man, you can't say that on television.
Right,
it's awful.
Time for a break.
That's the worst. Has this ever happened to you? Hey man, what's going on?
Whoa!
Why didn't you lock your door, man?
Get out!
Oh. This happens to over 90% of Americans every single day due to insufficient door closure and lockage. But with this new app for the iPhone and iPad, having people walk in on you while you're doing your dirty business all alone is a thing of the past. If you go with this app, whenever you go onto a website for something like robot fetishes, wet look, sploshing, adult babies, autoerotic asphyxiation, medical procedures, bestiality, or just your regular type of do it in the butt with a dude dressed like a Charizard, this app will remind you with a friendly, silent pop-up to make sure that you closed and locked your door. So that way, your neighbors won't just burst on in there while you're about to burst on out of your business. With this new app, that sort of thing will never happen again, and Americans will be safe from awkwardness the next day. With the app, porn away door lock. This is Curd.
And we're back. Wasn't that an informative commercial?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about subscribing to their product right now if I had an Apple product.
I can definitely think of some people who should subscribe to it.
I can as well. Anyways, most people probably don't know, but you're actually an expert on spiders.
Yeah, that's actually true. And this isn't like when Kyle said he goes to MIT. I actually am kind of an expert on spiders.
All right. So, what is it about spiders that fascinates you?
Well, for me, I'm just a big fan of. Back in the day, I used to be a zoology major before I changed to molecular biology. But I've always been a big fan of invertebrates, non-vertebrates. People always don't really seem to realize that vertebrates are the minority of different types of animal groups, and that we're, humans, fish, reptiles, all that sort of stuff. We're all part of one phylum. But then there's probably at least 20 other phylums, and they're all invertebrates. But spiders is where I did research with spiders throughout my entire undergrad, so that's kind of become my thing. I'm also a big fan of octopi, but I'm not an expert on that.
Okay. So, how do you feel when someone goes to kill a spider?
I don't really care.
How do you feel when someone's deathly afraid of a spider?
I find it kind of humorous.
So, are there any spiders in North America, or in Germany for that matter, that people are rightful to be afraid of?
No.
No?
No. And there are spiders that see. I could answer yes to that question. There are black widows, which everybody knows about, and a couple others, but they're actually not that bad. People have some misunderstandings, misconceptions about even some of the more poisonous spiders.
Interesting. So, what spider should we be afraid of if we're traveling the world?
I would say, that's a tough one. Really, you're never gonna find yourself in a situation where you're gonna be like sitting in a room and you're gonna see a spider walking through the door and it's gonna walk up to you and bite you. That's just not gonna happen. That's not how spiders roll. What is gonna happen is you might be, cleaning your porch or something, and so you reach underneath some chair that you haven't moved in a while, and little do you realize there's a web that's been built underneath there, and you've got something that's really pissed off that you've just started smashing up its web and might do a defensive bite. But even then, you're still not in a lot of trouble. There are some spiders that have what are called necrotoxins. They pretty much cause a breakdown of cells. So essentially, it's like where you've been bit, it just starts rotting, and that's really nasty because that can cause infections. And if infections happen, then you've got complications. But those are kind of not that common. The
Okay.
two, like John, if you were to think of really poisonous spiders, what would come to your mind?
Black widow and camel spider?
Yeah, camel spiders aren't actually spiders, and they're also not very venomous. That's an urban legend.
Well, don't they have a numbing agent?
I don't even think that's true. I don't think they have any type of toxins.
Interesting.
The urban legend of it is really just because they're really big, but they're not actually spiders. They're another type of arachnid. They're actually called the scientific / Latin name is solifugids, which kind of means like flees from the sun, which is true of really most arachnids. They just there's no point of them staying out in light. But they're also called what else are they called? They're not usually called camel spiders. They're usually called, I want to say, sun spiders. Let me just double check that.
Okay. Because the reason I bring the camel spiders up is because one of my friends was in the Marines over in Iraq, and he was saying that they were camel spiders and they would chew on a guy's arm, and their numbing agent made it so the guy didn't feel it while he was asleep, and he woke up and half his arm was gone. But then again, lots of soldiers, they do a good job, but they lie a lot about their experiences.
Yeah, it's if you were to just look up sun spiders, wind scorpions, or camel spiders, all the same thing, all different words for the same thing. If you just look them up on Wikipedia, there's a whole little chunk about it being an urban legend. But the black widow, I've actually done work with black widows. I haven't personally been bit by one, but unless you have a specific allergy to some of the toxins that it uses, it won't hurt more than a bee sting.
Okay. So if you put a black widow in a cage with a fancy mouse, who would win?
Who would win?
Yes.
That's actually very interesting. They've actually done some not research on this topic, but they used this type of setup as part of an experiment. The black widow has a defensive mechanism wherein it essentially presents this very small amount of web between its rear legs of sticky stuff, and it kind of puts that in between itself and like mice, which was they used in the experiment. And what happens is, imagine if you got glue all over your face. Wouldn't you want to get the glue off your face? Now imagine if the glue dried within seconds, though.
Wait, you're saying you want me to imagine glue all over my face that dries within seconds, right?
Yes. So now you just got like this crust.
I'm halfway there.
Yes, I knew you were setting that up. But essentially, that's one of their defensive mechanisms. So, and what it is, it's not like they win. It's not like they're going to kill the mouse. They're going to try and get away, or at least get it to leave them alone. Oh, there we go with ums. Sorry,
Right,
Captain J.
So you're telling me is if I'm in the forest on some quest to better myself, and a giant spider comes out of the woods, he'll probably just spit stuff on my face and try to avoid me.
A giant spider? What?
Yes, like with my
What is this, Harry
lightsaber.
Potter? Okay, so we've just this is not part of my expertise. Not hypothetical fantasy situations where it's Harry Potter meets Star Wars. That's if this
What would
is a
you do in
giant-
that situation? Would you fear the spider?
Okay, wait. Let me just get this clear. What is the proportion here? Is it like you would be the size of a mouse and it's the size of a normal spider as a normal mouse spider? Is like that the ratio? Or are we talking like this thing's large enough that you're like an ant compared to it?
I'd say it's large enough that your head is about the same size as its head.
Then you might be in some trouble.
Okay.
Well, it depends on the type of spider. Black widows really wouldn't be an issue because they're not out hunting; they have webs, and so if you walk into the capture threads, then you'd be in deep shit. But there's plenty of other spiders that do go hunting, and those would be the ones that would murder you.
Okay. So, long story short, just try to avoid giant spiders.
Yeah, giant spiders are bad news. On the note of giant spiders, you know tarantulas, right?
I do.
The funny thing that it's kind of one of those problems of when something's just been repeated so much that it's become just the commonplace. The word tarantula is just a terribly inaccurate description of what we call tarantulas. The original term tarantula was used to describe a type of, I believe it was a wolf spider or something like a wolf spider. That was fairly large, but it was in I think a Spanish or Italian city called Taranto, which sounds an awful lot like Toronto, I admit. But that's where we get the word tarantula. But later on, when the Spaniards came over to South America and they saw what we call tarantulas, they were the closest thing they could compare them to were the tarantulas back in Europe, which are a completely different thing. In French, actually, they actually use a much more accurate term, mygales, which is derived from mygalomorph, which is the type of spider that's a better description of tarantulas. This is just an interesting thing. I'm not trying to change people so they're like, oh, it's not all tarantulas. They're actually mygales. Did you know that? Like, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
And anyone who did that is probably going to get punched in the teeth.
Possibly. Anyways, all right. So we're done with spiders.
Okay.
We're done. Never gonna come up on the show again.
Well, that's kind of a shame.
Okay, they might. We'll see. Maybe
Cool.
we'll show someone a picture of a spider and scare them.
Cages.
Or maybe I'll-
what would happen if a giant spider walked in on Cages while he was busy?
Moving on to recommendations for this week. I need to get a sound clip for going into recommendations. Anyways, this week we decided we're going to recommend ways that you can better yourself. So, Tab, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think the first thing you can do is, if you don't have one already, get a job.
And why is that?
Well, if you don't have a job, I don't know how you're going to have any money.
How
How
would
could
you
you
recommend
possibly-
someone get any job or a career?
Honestly, if you don't have a job at all, any job. If you already have a job, but it's not a career track, then get a job that's career track.
Okay. And why do you recommend this? Why isn't it better to just leech off your parents' money for life, or to
Well,
leech off the government?
what happens if your parents die and they don't have any money anymore? Then you're screwed.
Well, you could go on welfare.
I don't approve of that.
So you're basically saying Cages has to get a job.
What? Cages?
All right, my recommendation for ways people can better themselves. Sometimes maybe it's a good idea to get a haircut. Some
or
people,
at least do something with your hair.
yes, don't look all mangy, and showering sometimes, like more than once a week, is recommended.
Oh dear.
So, just basic bathing and things like that. It can do a lot of good. No one
Yeah.
wants to be around a smelly person.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the thing that's important is like
Actually,
is not having a scent.
how is personal hygiene over in Germany?
It's fine.
Okay, so it's not like France.
I don't think France is as bad as people make it out to be.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying that I don't really know. I'm not an expert on France.
Oh, that's your next thing. Yeah, you're the expert on spiders now. France is the next thing you have to conquer.
Why would I conquer France? I live in Germany.
Well, you've already conquered Germany, haven't you? You're an expert on everything German.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
So how many houses of parliament are there in Germany, if any?
Why would I know that?
Because you live there?
One house in Park.
Are you allowed to vote?
Okay. Me?
Yes.
No, I'm not a German citizen. I'm an American citizen.
Oh, good for you!
Not that I vote.
I had to get one in there.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's a good time to end the show. Whoa, someone doesn't want the show to end. But yes, the show is going to end. So, Tab, take your bows.
Okay.
You have any closing statements, Tab?
Be smart.
Be smart. Everybody, send in your emails to Podcast Revolution, and I'll thank you. Minna, despite your poor email, and Ramon, despite your being Ramon, I'd like to thank you for sending in emails.
Let us know how your wedding goes.
Yes, hopefully you make Henrietta very jealous. Because it's obvious that she means a lot to you.
Yes, her and her brother.
All right. So thank you, Tab. Thank you, listeners. And thank me, because I'm the greatest thing ever. No, I'm not that, Andy. But, all right. Goodbye, everybody. Das Vidania.
Juice.
Oh, pants down.
Lay back.